intro video and then we'll go.
Oh, okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having an amazing week. So excited about the future of maternal health, this series that we've been hosting. We've been having some incredible, phenomenal guests from across the country who are so passionate about maternal health. And because it is it's Father's Day month, rather, we wanted to make sure that we really honor and lift up the voices of fathers as well, because far too often, they're not included in the conversations or in the care. And we know, I know personally, and I know so many of us know the fathers in our lives, the fathers in the lives of moms and babies make such a fundamental difference, such a critical difference when they're there. And so I'm excited because tonight we have an incredible panel for you guys. One of our panelists will hopefully be joining us shortly due to technical difficulties, but the two that we do have here are absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited to introduce them one by one. And first up, we have none other than Sade Hereford. Welcome, Sade.
Hi, everybody. I look forward to chatting and sharing information and all the good stuff.
Yes. For those of you who do not know, Sade Hereford is a perinatal wellness specialist with over 2 decades of service in community health and public service. She brings a wealth of experience and expertise to the field of maternal health with a dual bachelor's of science in kinesiology and human biology, complemented by a master of science in chemical biology. Her academic foundation is super robust. For more than a decade, her focus has been on nurturing moms and babies, specializing in mother baby postpartum care, special care nursery, neonatal intensive care unit, and pediatrics. She holds a prestigious certificate in global maternal and newborn care from Yale Health, further affirming her commitment to excellence in maternal health. In her role as a childbirth educator, her expertise extends beyond clinical cares. She is deeply engaged in all aspects with a particular emphasis on perinatal mental health, community advocacy, and patient rights. In addition to her experience as a full spectrum doula, she integrates lactation and milk feeding skills, providing comprehensive support to moms and families. Dedicated to promoting health equity, especially among vulnerable populations, she is on a lifelong journey of cultural competence, and her passion lies in empowering Black families across the United States and the African diaspora. Her mantra is wellness for families, creating happy baby bonds, and it encapsulates her belief in the transformative power of nurturing relationships. Welcome again, Sade. We are so honored to have you tonight.
Thank you. You make me sound so cool. I appreciate it.
And you are. And now I am so excited to introduce the voice of fatherhood tonight in the room. He is a prolific individual. I'm sure he's a prolific dad, and most of all, he's a prolific leader. So we're so honored and grateful to have you, Mr. Alex Trimble. How are you?
I am doing so well. I was doing better until I had to go right after my friend over here, 'cause she's like doctors and masters, and she's killing life, and she's living life. So I will sit in my corner and do my thing when y'all call on me.
No, not at all, because we're about to read your bio too, right? For those of you who do not know, I am super excited and honored to introduce you to Alex D. Trimble. He is the founder and CEO of GPS Leadership Solutions, a firm that helps CEOs of early 8-figure multi-location companies stop being the bottleneck. An international keynote speaker and best-selling author of 5 books, including Leadership Sucks Sometimes and Unlocking the Executive Advantage. Alex works with CEOs and owners in roughly 10 million to 50 million plus dollar businesses to install a simple leadership operating system, clear priorities, real delegation, and a stronger bench so that the company can run fast without them in every fire. Utilizing his trademark TP3 performance model, which stands for trust, proactivity, productivity, and profitability, Alex leads a 3-step process. Reveal how the CEO is actually experienced through his 14-day executive leadership diagnostic. reset their leadership habits over 90 days, and reinforce the cadences of behaviors that sustain high performance. He holds a master's in industrial and organizational psychology and has advised leaders across Fortune 500 companies, federal agencies, and high growth firms. And on top of all of that, he is also a father, right? So, welcome, 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 Alex, again. We're so excited and honored to have you.
Same here, my friend. Same here.
Yes. And as I said, our third panelist, who we are hoping and are sure will be able to join us soon, is Dr. Washington from the Morehouse School of Medicine. And as soon as he joins us, we'll be sure to introduce him as well. But without further ado, just to jump into tonight's conversation, we really want to make sure that we center fatherhood tonight, right? And we know that we've heard the story after story about the work when dads were present, they were paying attention, they were advocating, and it really changed the outcome for moms and babies. We've also heard the opposite, right? When no one outside the mom was equipped to notice the signs, ask the questions, or speak up when something felt wrong. And so that's the gap that we're really talking about tonight. Not just what fathers carry, but what it means for an entire village. Partners, doulas, grandparents, faith leaders, neighbors, and friends to actually be built into the system of care around a mom and baby instead of having to stand outside of it. So if you've ever been the partner in the waiting room or the friend who showed up with a meal, the family member who asked the question that nobody else thought to ask, tonight's conversation is for you too. This is bigger than any one role. This is about the village as we lift up fathers and we talk about what it takes to really, really improve maternal health. So let's jump in without further ado as we give our phenomenal panelists an opportunity to weigh in. And so the first question I will give to you, Alex, let's start with you. We talk about the maternal health ecosystem, right? And we know that fathers are often present in the room, but sometimes invisible in the conversation. So from your perspective as a dad, what does it actually look like when a father is overlooked by the system surrounding birth and postpartum? And why do you think that still happens?
So two points. Well, first, again, thank you so much for having me here. And my wife has been very clear in telling you all I have the ability to plead the fifth. If I want to say something stupid, I just won't say it. So to answer your question in two parts, the first is like, what does it feel like? It was actually super weird. It was super weird, and so weird to the point that it got annoying, then it became frustrating. Because I am extremely close with my wife. We went to she had a very difficult pregnancy. Went in on 11. The water broke at 11:04, 11:07 on a Friday morning. Went to the hospital. Our dude didn't come out until 7:07 on Sunday a.m. So it was a journey. She had to stay late, so she ended up staying 4 or 5 days in the hospital afterwards to recover from everything that had to happen. And I was the word you said. It felt invisible. No one, like I was her support, but no one would talk to me. It was even weird that I could carry the baby, but I couldn't do anything with the baby. Like they were watching me. Like I was going to steal the baby. There's a little thing on the baby and thing on the mama, and only mama can leave the room or leave the place with the baby. Otherwise, I might kidnap the baby, which is weird again because it's our baby. And after we left, again, my wife took the first 2-3 weeks were really hard, just from a recovery standpoint. Yet we still needed to obviously go to the doctor's office. And so I was the primary one taking care of our child at the moment. And my wife called it out herself, which I appreciate her so much for her calling this stuff out. She's like, Alex, we go to the doctor's appointment, and every time they ask me something, I tell them that you're the one taking care of everything, and you answer. And then they go right back to me. It's like they won't interact with you. And I was like, yeah, that is so weird, right? And as I started talking to my peers, the other fathers I know, they're like, yeah, that's been our experience too. Like no one would interact with us. And So that's kind of the feeling part. And then when you asked about why that happens, I end up, I'm a bit of a love talking and learning. So I talked to a few nurses about it, a few doctors, and a few friends around the area in this regard. And they said, well, that's because many mothers are there on their own, or the father isn't there and isn't engaged, and so on and so forth. And I was like, well, I get it. What happens when you have one who is?
Yeah.
And those behaviors are saying, well, you don't belong here. So it almost makes you want to step back because you feel like, I guess I'm not supposed to be involved with this. So let me step back. And that's the opposite of what we really want. And so that has been my feeling, as well as what I've heard from the conversations I've had.
Wow. And that, first off, I'm sorry, I hate that happened to you, because like you said, you created the baby, right? Like, just like your wife did. And so it is fortunate that they make the present fathers, like, pay the price for those who aren't present. So thank you for sharing your perspective. Sade, we want to bring it to you. So we know the conversation about maternal health. We know more than anything what the outcomes are for moms, for babies. And we still know that so many moms are still the most underserved, right, when it comes to prenatal and postpartum continuity of care specifically. And so from your experience, where do you think the system is consistently failing, and what is it costing the family?
Ooh, I think this is such a vast question. I think the first part, when you mentioned, like, where do you think it starts from? First, I think it starts as an adolescent young lady, because we're not really taught about our bodies. And if you have an involved mother who talks to you, how is she explaining to you about your body? Most women haven't even been to the doctor, the hospital, until they're having a baby. That's generally, like, what it is. They probably haven't broken a bone. So when they go to the hospital, this is their first experience to being in this space. I think another thing that how the system can also fail with continuity of care is actually listening. As we say a lot of times, like having the provider, or I know some people don't like provider, healthcare professional, not really listen to what they are saying. And so what I always tell my families too, anytime I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to any prenatal care appointment, or if you're going to the doctor for your auntie and uncle, anybody, always write down your questions. And sometimes, like, even if you're unsure what the question is, our appointments, just generally being honest, are like 15 to 20 minutes. How many questions can you really ask in a 30-minute time period to be able to get all your questions answered? That's the first thing. I think the next thing after that, I tell my family, is the big three. Try to get those big three questions in that you think is the most important, like at least the first two. And then after that, I say place all those questions in your my chart, okay? Because it's a nurse that's going to be able to read it and get back to you. And I think always, even if you're unsure and you can't get to your doctor, send a message to your my chart. Send another message. I'm unsure what this is. Can you clarify? Another reason, I'm just, me, I'm really big on advocacy. It also leaves a paper trail. Nobody can say, oh, you didn't reach out and say about this. You didn't say that this was going on. And even in your my chart, you can go as vast as attaching pictures and images and documents to it. It's very vast. So I think that's another way. And then to kind of move forward in regards to the continuous of care is even after postpartum, of how the workforce encompass moms, or how moms have to deal with their jobs. So I know we talked a lot about like the maternal health system, but what about the external factors, those intersectionalities of how life has to continue to go? How does she do this? How does she work? How does she, handle all these things that are coming all at once? Because life doesn't stop. One day you're pregnant, you literally have the baby. It's not like an in-between. And so sometimes you're still adjusting to that space. And I think the way that the system can support moms through the whole space is listening, being willing to explain. That's why we got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Okay. That's what my mom used to always say. Okay. You listen double the amount than you want to speak. If we allow people to actually explain, then maybe we can listen to those small things to be able to help the mom. Because sometimes we don't know what they're saying. And then I can even go as far as to talking about the humility, and then in regards to education level. Sometimes somebody may not be able to fully understand or read what you're saying or talking, and we would say big words. And so how, in what way in the system can we narrow down those words to help people fully understand what's happening? And that's not even just for moms and babies, that's anybody who's going in the healthcare system. It's actually having people explain to them in layman's terms or another way they can receive it without feeling minimized, like they're not good enough or smart enough to make decisions on their own.
You can I there's two things. You said so much. Thank you, Miss Sade. So the first one is that the willingness to advocate for yourself, like that, so huge. Like that was something that was driven into my wife and I over and over and over and over and over and over and over before we got to that point. And I'm so glad we did, because we were blessed. We went to a really nice hospital and we had our kid, and great nurses, amazing doctors. And there was one doctor who we were praying we did not have to be there when she was, because she wasn't listening. And she was pushing my wife for meds that she didn't want. And she was pushing her to do, take certain procedures. And she's like, I don't want this. And I'm like, sweetheart, like, if you don't want it, we're good. But we could, as we talked about it after, we could definitely see how people would just be, that doctor was just like, this is what you got to do. You're just moving it along, So the advocacy part is so, so important. And then I wanted to comment on a story really quickly. I tell now all the time. So my wife and I, so we had our baby, and it took us 5 years to have him. It was a long process, IVF process, emotionally expensive, financially expensive, like all that stuff. And we finally got pregnant, and our people would always ask us, do you want a boy or a girl? And we're like, dude, all we want is a healthy baby who becomes extremely rich and takes care of us. That's all we need. And the day came, the baby came, and oh my God, so much love, so many pictures, so many messages, people buying them stuff, like just consistent love just pouring into us for months. But that was challenging moment for us, because how every call was asked, hey, how's little Oka doing? Oh my God, I want to see the picture. Oh, he's so cute. No one asked about my wife. Right. And if they would have asked, maybe they would have found out that she was going through postpartum, which for anyone who's gone through it or knows someone who's gone through it, is really, really hard. Right. And so what we realize, again, it's just the reality is that two things happen. One, and it's the societal thing. We tend to forget. We love, and we put all this love on the patient, which is absolutely important. And the caregiver matters as well, right? Because if we can love our little boy all we want, but if Sue and I, my wife's name is Sue and I aren't around, who's taking care of them? So you, yes, love on that person, the baby and all that, but you also got to love on the mother, because she went through so much. And on top of that, and I'm not trying to, my wife gonna say, Alex, you had to throw yourself in there, but I am also a caregiver, right?
Yeah.
And the husband is a caregiver. And so as I was taking care of her, and her taking care of him, and us taking care of each other, like, it's a lot. And so being there to then say, yes, hey, how's mom doing? Let's make sure we have support for her. Hey, how's dad doing? Let's make sure we have support for him. And remember, my wife and I love this. We believe in two things can be right at the same time. Like, it could absolutely be right, and it is absolutely right to support the mom, and it's absolutely right to support the dad. And if I can take one last thing to say is, I love that you were saying, Ms. Sade, about asking the question. If we start from first principles, which is what we're always doing in our business, is like, instead of answering the question from where we are right now, saying, oh, let's clear the playing field. In a perfect situation, what would be the best situation? Okay, we ask, what is the best way to make sure this child is supported? We're not going to say, oh, well, mom's worked so hard already, so dad don't need support. No, you wouldn't say that. You would say, let's make sure the parents are supported. and asking them what they need to feel supported, and then doing those things. But we don't do those things. I think enough people don't do those things. So like you said, I love that you said pause, ask the question. Because what could be supportive for you is maybe not supportive for me, and vice versa.
Yes, 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 definitely. Alex, you touched on like such great points. And, you know, in all the conversations that we've had about maternal health, that's a concept that comes up over and over again, is that everybody asks about how's baby's doing, but so often the self-care of mom, particularly, and also dad, as you're bringing up too, is too often neglected. And really, baby can't thrive unless their parents are thriving, right? So it definitely feeds into each other. And that really is a perfect segue into our next question, Alex, and I'll bring it back to you because we want your perspective as a dad. So often we talk about maternal mental health, but we know that paternal mental health is a thing as well, right? So we're talking about like depression, anxiety, grief, identity loss, a big thing, right? Especially becoming a first time parent. And we know it's real and documented, but it's almost entirely absent from the conversation about maternal health. And so, in your experience, how have you seen, maybe firsthand or from other dads that you know, how have you seen unsupported fathers show up as a hidden variable in maternal health?
Oh, you say, and you say paternal health for the mother, right?
Maternal health for you, for dad. We want to know
Oh,
how.
y'all,
Yeah.
y'all caring about me? Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, let me I'm gonna clench my
Yes.
pearls. Um,
Yes. I want to
you know,
know.
it's actually very interesting, because I feel like there's a transition in the air, in that there's a lot of how we've been, when I say we, the broader we have been raised in regards to males, is to just suck it up, right? Like, and your job is to make money, right? And I've been blessed to be around a number of new fathers, of all our friends, a bunch of kids at the same time, who just love on their kid and hugging and kissing and wanting to be there with them, whatnot. And I think that has been what helped me and my friends with that mental state. It's because it was normal around me and my friends, versus the idea that I'm not supposed to be ooey gooey. That's not what a man is. And having that internal tension on, admittedly, I know someone who is like, that's not my role. That mom does all those things. I'll make some money, but I that's not my role. And I know there's some internal tension there, but the culture that person has, where they're from, and so on and so forth, is heavy on them. And so their idea is shut off emotions. My job is just to do X, Y, and Z. And so my hope is that, again, so much of your life, we know the quote, like, you are the average of the top 5 people you hang out with. Like, I'm really blessed to be around some amazing fathers that we got to talk to one another and talk about what's working, what's hard. Hold up, this is happening to you too? Oh, I thought it was just me. Like, I'll tell you one time, really, and I'll shut up. There was a time where I was doing my best to make sure my wife didn't have to get out of bed in the morning. So if y'all look on YouTube, you'll see like a whole bunch of videos of me like doing leadership talks with my boy at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, right? Just trying to keep him away from mom. And one night he was crying. He just would not stop crying. I'm like, he had gas. And so I'm pumping his little legs on bicycle kicks. And he's not stopping. His diaper's clean. And I'm like, and finally I hear my wife getting up. I feel horrible because she's walking downstairs now. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm just, don't worry about it. You go back to play. I'm gonna figure this out. And she was like, did you give him a bottle? And I was like, I don't know how I didn't think about that. I felt so dumb. I felt so like unhelpful. Like it was a really bad feeling. I'm like, my wife had to get out of bed because I wasn't smart enough to think about giving this kid a bottle. Like, there's only so many things he probably needs, but my mind's not there. And so, again, she's been super supportive to make sure we know, both of us know, that we have a role. We are, and it's okay. Like, we're gonna get it wrong. One last quick story. She was having a rough time at it, again, postpartum, whatnot, and she was just, she started breaking down one day. And I was like, sweetheart, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, she's like, I just don't know. It's diaper. I changed the diaper. I'm just tired. And she said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to change it. And I said, sweetheart, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just saw him pooping. So I ran upstairs, so I wasn't here when you saw it. I said it, honey, to say, neither did I. And it's okay. And we laughed about it, and I went on, I changed the diaper. The point being, like, everyone's going to need different things during those moments. But I think, again, the open communication, trying to laugh about it whenever possible, at least it worked for us. That's all I can say.
Wow. Yeah, that's really beautiful. I think I really appreciate your vulnerability, because you highlight something that is really important. I mean, and also, I know you said, you didn't think of the bottle, but you were there, like, just your presence, like, you helping to take the load off of her so that she doesn't have to worry about baby. That makes, like, such a huge difference. And so every little thing, even if it's not perfect, is so appreciated, and I know your wife, I'm sure she tells you that all the time, but, like, that's really the heart of it, is that, it really takes a partnership, right? To be able to do it together. And that's what we're talking about today, is, like, the whole village, like, fathers, everyone doing the best that they can to really make sure that we support mom and baby and everyone in the process. And so, Sade, I want to bring it back to you now. And so, we talk a lot about the outcomes. We've also been talking about, the different demographic differences that happen. I know specifically you have a heart for making sure that, we look at the statistics, and just the fact that Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from childbirth-related causes. And we know that 80% of these are preventable, right? So when we think about fatherhood and the whole village and the role that everyone plays, we know that the experience of being unseen is not the same for every family. And so, how do you think, in your experience, in your professional experience, how does race, culture, or socioeconomic context shape which mothers get believed, which fathers get included, and which families get left without a map?
Thank you. That's a great start. But before I dive into that, I first want to say thanks again to Mr. Trimble and your wife for being vulnerable in this space to talk about this, especially from a dad's perspective. And also just want to highlight that sleep deprivation is real. Sleep deprivation, even if you didn't have the baby, imagine if you didn't sleep. Would you still be making the same? So I want to highlight the grace that you have to have for yourself, and how also you gave grace to your wife. So I just wanted to again, we in a safe space, we uplifting people. I also want to uplift you and let you know, again, that sleep deprivation is very real.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. To highlight, first of all, I love families. I love moms and babies. And I when I'm facilitating, I talk to the whole family, okay? Down to the dog, down to the cousin, auntie, cousin, whoever in the house. If I'm doing a workshop, I'm in the house, whoever in the house, you can be auntie, you come sit down too. We all need to know what this conversation is about. So when I speak, I think about the whole family unit, like more than just like the prime nucleus, because it's not just mom and dad helping baby. It might be a sorority sister, fraternity brother dropping and picking up your baby one day. So are they vast in what they do and knowing how to make sure that the car seat is installed correctly, and but besides that, I'm a person that fully believes that just on a human level, that everybody deserves food, water, and shelter. Like, that's the basic needs. And when we talk about Maslow hierarchy of needs, the first thing is physiological safety. And then after that, physiological needs, then safety. That's like the next thing. And so when we talk about fathers are in the space and they want to feel like, how do I protect? Another thing, I'll be at a birth and a dad is just looking at his wife and he's just like, feeling helpless. Like I can always take up this problem and fix it for you, but this one I can't fix it. I can't take this pain out of your body and take at least half for it. All I can do is literally be right here to support you. And I feel like sometimes being unseen can be like, even going down to, again, I always think about on the basic levels is non-verbal, verbal, and tone in regards to communication. How are you communicating with your family and your partner in that space too? I recently had a mom tell me, during the birth time when I want him to come, I don't want no affirmations. He was like, well, if I never came to this class, I would never known that she didn't want no birth affirmation. And so he was like, so I'm grateful for that experience. He was like, but then you taught me other ways of thinking outside of the box of like how I can support her so that I can feel seen too. Because I tell the dads, don't take it personally. Sometimes I know you're trying to fix, but this time just be willing to just move through the flow as she is too. To just bring back what you said about how culture and socioeconomic context, I travel the world and help moms and babies everywhere, okay? In the state and different countries. And one thing that I can constantly see is that it has a lot to do with the structure of the political climate sometimes, and then also how that is in their different area. Like, for example, we have community health workers, but in Africa, they have village health workers. Same thing, tomato. But in theirs, they're more likely to see way more people, maybe like 100 people in that one village versus maybe community health worker in the United States, maybe have a caseload of maybe 15, 20, depending on what program they're part of. And so I think that if we had systems, which I know that you mentioned earlier, Mr. Trimble has a good systems. If we had systems in place that actually support people on all those intersectionalities, I think more people would be seen. I like giving examples too. For example, we were doing a trip to Uganda, Africa, Liberia, and we went to Liberia, but specifically in Uganda, we had like a setting and we were talking to the families, and the dads came and sat down, but they were teen dads. It's a very high teen population of new dads and moms in Uganda. And so they was like, can we sit down and learn? I'm like, absolutely. They were asking questions. They like, so now this is what I got to do. And they wanted to be involved. They just felt like they had to ask first. We like, no, please come and be involved. And you need to know what this is and this is, and just like not being, and then also addressing questions directly to the person. Like in a space, I'm always giving eye contact because that lets you know, again, in the spaces where you feel unseen, are you giving the mom direct eye contact? Are you giving dad direct eye contact? But one thing I would say is that everybody's not living their truest purpose. And some people do get into jobs to get money. So we have to take a step back and think about what providers are thinking too when they're seeing us. Are they being as compassionate, or is this another bed that's being filled within another 12 hours? So I feel like making people feel more seen by being actually compassionate. Like I had moms, I'm like, okay, well, you can't have nothing to eat or drink, but I do know you like lavender. So I made sure when I came back, I bought you lavender. And those small things like makes a world of difference to people because they make them feel seen. Like you actually listen to what I said. You make jokes and understand, hey, I'm going to be here with you for 12 hours. Here's my phone number. Call me. I know I'm going to be on the unit, but I want to let you know that you got me. And I'm going to be here until my shift is over, but I want you to know I'm here. I think that helps. Again, my last little point in regards to we talk about like maternal health, and we know that even OBGYN are dying. So it has nothing to really do with like education in class or being married. It's just literally circumstances that are out of our literal control. Pigmentation, melanin, literally. These are things that we physiologically, as I talked about, with Maslow heart, it's a basic things that we cannot control on a physiological level. So I feel like to just sum up what I'm trying to say is that we can see moms, dads, families support people in all these spaces to elevate the support of what the baby needs by seeing each individual with who they're bringing and who they are, they aspect. And then are we approaching it with kindness? And again, with our tone, our body language, and on our verbal capacity.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Such great points there. And I really, really appreciate you for just giving us that global perspective and just helping us to realize that this is not an isolated issue, right? It's not just the United States, which speaks to just how powerful and transformative love can really be and compassion can be across the board. And so, Mr. Trimble, I want to bring it back to you. You gave such a beautiful recollection of your personal experience as a dad, and how invisible you felt like when you were navigating the healthcare system with your wife. And so we know that a lot of healthcare systems are not currently designed to hold fathers, to see fathers, and not because of any type of malice, maybe just for oversight, right? Like a lot of the people that you talked about, the nurses, they said that usually dads are not present. And so when we think about solutions and what it would actually look like to redesign the system to support the whole family, not just the individual in the hospital bed, what do you think that would look like?
So, admittedly, I think of this very, I guess, structurally, because when we're talking about systems, talking about like this is the work we do at companies and their CEOs, and we always use a 3-step process: assess, deliver, sustain. So the first thing is always assess. Well, first, let me take a step back. Everyone loves to implement new things. Here's a new program. Let's do this. Let's do that. New systems. Yay. It's going to fix everything. And generally speaking, it doesn't. Most change efforts actually fail. And not only fail, that failure not only impacts the people who are trying it, but also impacts everyone who is supposed to be helped, and so on and so forth. So we want to do our best to not fail, right? So let's do what we can to lower the likelihood of that happening. So the first thing we always do is assess, which again, what you all talked about earlier, which is understanding what is the actual root cause. We understand this is the pain point. This is the things that are happening, but why are they happening? That's the first thing we got to do, is literally ask questions. Again, people don't like this, but do surveys, do some interviews, see where people are failing, where things are being slipped, and why did you do this? You forgot to talk to the father. Why did you do it? Oh, because doing X, Y, and Z, and so on and so forth. The idea that, especially in a hospital, there's been documented over and over and over that the chance of death reduces significantly once they've built in systems and processes that everyone is being held accountable for doing over and over and over. That means you can do the same exact thing with maternal and paternal care. Just build the right systems. And once you understand what the actual problems are, where the misses are, where the friction is, then you say, okay, cool. What deliver? Now you assess, you deliver. What is the mechanism we can put in place? Is the training? Is it the workshop? Is it coaching? Is it whatever it is, that to teach people the skills, the specific behaviors we need them to do, which is, and again, this is me, my personal thing. I could care less if you like me. You can hate my guts. As long as you say the right things to me and it's appropriate, it's respectful, because I've told you what to say, that's what's important. Because I don't know how you're thinking. I can't see what you're thinking. All I know is what you said and did. And so that's what we want to focus on. Is like, hey, look, yes, you couldn't give them food. Did you offer them something else? Did you ask them what their needs were? Based on their needs, was there anything you did do? Like, we can literally script those things out for people. And once you script them out for people, you've done the delivery, you've taught them how to do these things, and you told them what the standards are, you developed and so that's the delivery part. Then you move to the final part, which is sustain. How do you increase the likelihood that people actually consistently do what you've taught them to do? What are your reward systems? How do you hold people accountable? If someone doesn't do it and you've told them multiple times, what needs to happen, right? Because if you say something that's important and someone's over here not doing it and they get a promotion, they get a raise, whatever happens, what are you really saying? This ain't that important, right? So how do you put the systems in place to ensure that if someone is doing these things, they are being rewarded, and if someone's not, then they're exiting the door, because this is important to us. It makes me think of, I know this is a little funny for me anyways, the Key and Peele episode, right? When they were doing the teacher draft, right? Where they're drafting, like, these teachers were getting paid, such and such just got a $50 million contract. Let's watch some highlight reels of them. And you looking at them like, oh, you see how he could have picked on that person easily, but he saw that person kind of knew, but the window was afraid to put their hand up, so he picked on them, and that helped their motivation. Like, that's what we have to be willing to do. If we say that treating mothers and fathers as they're going through these processes is important, and we identify those behaviors and those people are doing them, then we need to reward them for it. And if they're not doing them, then we need to exit them. Ultimately, if you can't get them to do what they need to do, so that is the first part. It's just, again, you need to build, understand what the problem is, build the training and the components to help them, the tools to help them actually do it, and then hold people accountable and have systems in place. And I'll just say, aside from the technical response that I think of, it's, it really isn't that, at the end of the day, it's not that difficult. Because they're already doing it for surgeries. They're doing it for all those other procedures that require a very strict protocol on how they're going to interact with people. They do it. So you can't say you don't know how to implement new systems because you're doing it over here. You're just choosing, as of right now, not to do it on this side.
Yes, 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 yes. Wow, so happy we have the strategic thought leader in the room, because you just outlined it like in a perfectly simple way. And I think you highlighted such a pivotal thing, is that, I filled out countless surveys, right? But it's not just about them taking in the feedback and taking in the information, it's about them acting on it as well, and restructuring their system to actually meet the needs of the patients in a way that makes a tangible impact. So thank you so much for that incredible outline. Yes, they all need to call you, basically. They all need to call DPS Leadership Solutions, all the hospitals. Okay. Sharday, back to you. When fathers are supported emotionally, psychologically rather, and communally, what changes for the moms beside them? And when moms are truly supported, what becomes possible for the whole family? And how do you think that affects us as a society?
Oh, that's a very vast question. I love it. I think that if fathers are supported fully, how do I want to phrase this? I think when fathers are fully supported in every aspect of their life, I actually had a preacher say, "Oh, men are very simple. They just want their woman, sports, food, and that's it. Like just chill time. They're very basic." But I feel like also having their own personal space in their own like guy tribe, as we would say, woman tribe, it's where they feel like they can be able to be vulnerable, to also not also feel seen. Some, as the newer generation say, the group chat, but creating that community for them to feel seen. Because I think that if a dad, for example, we know that a lot of these systems that are put in place, for example, anything in regards to like maybe health systems, Medicaid, things like that, if we're putting someone on food stamps, then that means we might be putting the dad on what? Child support. So how can he fully thrive and support her when he's not trying to take it personally, but now it's feeling like, okay, well, I know that our baby needs to eat. But then now I have to be put into a system that's trying to keep me in a system forever. And then from there, we already know that there's another pipeline outside of education, which is the prison system. I think that's also a huge thing. And just the law around how men are viewed in multiple societies. Again, it depends on your environment. It could be a different level. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same as it is here in the United States, if we're thinking about the general but I would say, if a man fully feels like he can support and not have to navigate these exterior things that are against him before he even walks into the house, that's how the mama can be full seen, where he can make, as women say, living this soft life, or living in her feminine, or living in the space where she feel like she can just breathe. Then I feel like, because then it's like, okay, well, I can handle this because now I have to worry about all these other things. But when those barriers are stacked up, plus no money, how can I be fully safe for you? How can I fully provide for you? How can I fully give my time if I'm a blue collar worker and I got to work 16 hours and I got to come back and then I got to make sure I'm there for you. And then, I'm still trying to support you through whatever mental health issues you might be going through, when I want to support you and love you, but I'm also getting beat mentally out in this space too. And I think if we support There are a lot of initiatives that are happening. I don't know what's happening again all over the world, but specifically in Detroit, there are a lot of different initiatives that's focusing on like men's mental health, and then Postpartum International is another place that has been opening up a lot of space for fathers to be able to do, a hotline to support. But I think once that happens, then the mom like can fully say, okay, I got this, and then this is where I feel comfortable. And then the mom also, and I love, again, to just be transparent. Sometimes when the mom has a baby, she like, my baby, mine, that's my baby. Why are you dropping my baby? Where are you taking my baby? Where my baby? And it's just because innately it's something that has physiologically happened to your body. So you feel like this is mine. That's like if somebody chop your leg off, you like, that's my leg, that's my foot. However, I feel like if dads are supported through that, will make them feel seen too, that they're also a part of it, and that is their baby too. That's why they want to do the skin to skin. That's why they want to be feeling like, okay, well, I wasn't able to birth the baby. How do I feel like I was a part of this process? Like, I know, but how do I feel? And I feel like once we get to those levels and how families look at each other and their love languages and how they support one each other, or how they know each other, like even writing pros and cons, like, you know what, when we communicate, this might not be the best way for this particular scenario. We might need to circumvent and go around another way with the baby. Maybe the ways that we were handling situations before. And I tell my family always, have a safe word. Because a lot of times we're not trying to hurt people's feelings, and maybe you might be in a situation, you might be like, you know what, and look at how I say pineapples. It might be a pineapple moment. Okay, to divide. And I feel like from there, we know that intergenerational is huge. Who was there for mom and mom and dad and dad. That's all that there's like building upon generations. And to just kind of again wrap this up, one thing I want to say is I've actually talked to people and I've asked multiple people like, oh, well, my dad never said he loved me, or my mom never said she loved me. And I always be like, did you ever ask him why? Again, bringing back to that communication on that level on why, because they were once a person too. And I think that intergenerational healing also makes sure everybody is seen. And so we can truly have that ripple effect amongst the family if everybody's working on a healing, so that that baby that's starting that whole new generation legacy that everybody wants is healed too, to be able to carry on that legacy.
Yes.
Can I kind of follow on? I just want to underscore, because you said some stuff. When you said the my baby piece, that hit home. I know other men have felt that, because it's like, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. No, you're not. What do you mean? No, this is my baby. I thought it was our baby. And like, that is wow. That is such it's a mind meld, like just to not be frustrated in that moment. Again, even I had to talk to, my mentors. They're like, hey, look, back off of it. This is the time, they're going through this, and even, it's much, he's about to turn 3 next month. So we've gotten much better at that. But man, I love that you call that out, because that is one for, I think it's probably weird for a dude to hear in the beginning, like, hold up, I thought it was our baby. Like, what do you mean it was my baby? Our baby. Don't we have a decision about this? So they need to know that could happen and how they're going to react. And it's probably, to your point, that needs to be a conversation before the baby gets there. I mean, we never even thought about that, right? So that's an amazing point that you bring up. And then the other thing you oh my God, you said so much, just about the generational, some people call them generational curses, things like that. I would just encourage everyone to question why they believe what they believe, because a lot of the stuff we believe as fact, as true, is just what we saw, and that doesn't mean that was the right way to do something. Right? It wasn't it was the right way to interact. Oh, this is how my mom always did. This is my dad always did. This is how I saw it. That don't mean they were the best example. It means, generally speaking, I tell people, like, life is hard. People are doing the best they can with the resource, the skill, and the support they have. It doesn't mean it's the best. It means that was their best. And so we have to be intentionally, like, putting ourselves around really great role models, and in allowing ourselves to kind of grow from osmosis from just watching them interact versus just only relying on what we've seen in the past. And so I want to make those 2 points because you speaking gold. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Such great points. And so I want to bring this one specifically back to you, Alex. So maybe right now in this moment, I'm sure, right? There's a mom who's maybe still waiting to be seen. There's a father who's been showing up and still feeling invisible. What truth do you think is most important for them to hear right now? Like, what would you tell them?
Man. Oh, this is a hard question. What truth would I tell them?
Yeah, think back. What did you need to hear when you?
There's a book that I really, really love. It's called Loving What Is. And I'm not a touchy-feely guy at all. I'm a process guy, facts ration. But I read this book because an executive coach who I respect a great deal really talked it up a lot. And I read it and I was like, dude, this is it's so helpful. The premise of the book, you can read it so fast. The premise is the friction, the hard feelings we have in life are generally because we are focused on the gap between what is happening in life, what reality is, versus what we wish and hope and we believe what should be. And if we are willing to just accept, hey, this is our reality, and once we accept it, now that friction kind of goes away, and then you can develop a plan, a strategy to deal with it. And so to make it a more concrete example is there are going to be some times where things are uncomfortable, and or this person's not listening to you, or you're having it, or this person's mad at this person, or whatever it may be. Don't spend your time, don't waste your time thinking about, well, they should have responded like this. He should have done this. They should have done it. Why isn't it like this? It should be that. But that doesn't help. This is what this is. Now, how do I deal with this? This person's not listening to me right now. How do I deal with this? This person, we're clashing right now. Okay, how do I deal with, just forget about the what shoulds, because the should stuff can get you riled up, and it doesn't help you any. So I love the idea of just accepting reality for what it is. Doesn't mean it's right. It means you're accepting it, and once you accept it, you can build a plan to address it. And the one thing I wanted to mention earlier, and I forgot to say it, was especially I'm just saying this because there are some men who probably need to just probably hear this if they're listening, which is being a Black dude in hospitals is not always the easiest thing, right? I'll tell you that I have known a neighbor in our neighborhood. I've known them for 10 years. Really good people. We are over there all the time. This past week, I happened to take off my glasses for a second because it was hot, and they looked at me. They were like, "Alex, you are scary." And I was like, "Oh yeah," because the glasses make me look more friendly, approachable, right? And so there's the reality that sometimes when you're in these spaces, people are already not going to want to interact with you because they're quote unquote afraid of you. And so there's that tension, and just unfortunately, this is the reality. And so how are you going to make sure you're navigating that space in a way that's going to allow you to stay where you need to be there to support your partner and all those things? Again, not right. And you can do things to deal with that, but just understand that it's happening, and it's not because of you. It's just because of what their mind and their experiences are.
Yes. Welcome, Dr. Washington. We can hear you. Welcome. How are you? Can you hear us? It seems like we're still having some difficulties, but yes, you are very, very, very right. Dr. Washington, whenever you want to connect me, you can. Okay, so yes, thank you so much, Alex, for that great point. And I want to go back to you, Sade, while we wait for Dr. Washington, as we have a few more minutes left together. And the question for you is, knowing what we know about what moms, families, and everybody's carrying, right? Like, what is one specific thing that you feel like we can do immediately? Like, what does the future of maternal health require in your eyes?
I think you don't know what you don't know. Like, you can't be something that you haven't been before. So I think, like, if you've never been a mom before, it's hard to really say fully what you can say to the T of what a mom looks like. But even in that variation, there are various different moms. Same for a dad. Or even if you don't have kids yet and you plan to have kids, you still don't you didn't know your 10-year-old self versus your 21-year-old self. And so I think one thing we can do today is self-reflect on our values and what's important to us in our stage that we are currently, and what we want our future self to look like. And what I mean by that is, like, okay, you want to be a mom, but what type of mom do you want to be? You want to be a soccer mom? You want to be a mom who teaches her kids STEM? What type of dad do you want to be? Do you want to be teach the child athletics, or do you want to be a dad that's very stickler on, aerodynamics? It's like, once both people or families kind of sit down and set their values or their mission, purpose, and values for their family legacy, then I think that allows people to kind of know what they need to move ahead. And we can do that today. One thing that I always tell people, and people like, what? Like, I write letters to my future self. I've been doing this since I was about 21. I know I look 21, y'all. I'll just be drinking my water. But
21, I thought you was 18.
So I know, but I literally been writing letters to my future self. And then when I read that letter, I just challenge myself. Am I doing those things that I said that I was doing? And then if I'm not, why did I change from doing that direction? Is it good? Am I shrinking myself or allowing myself to grow, and then not being afraid to challenge? So I'm saying that for myself, but I would say that's what every family can do as a team building, as a after dinner or a dinner conversation, or all right, together as a family, what is our mission? Mm-hmm. What is our values? What is our purpose? So you will have alignment. And I think that that's what anybody can do today, is really just sit down and value what is it that you value to be able to move forward. So if you have a baby, one baby is different than having two babies. Like, two babies is different than having three babies and four babies, because each baby brings a different dynamic, different personalities. We even go down to psychology, how they talk about the age group and how each person falls in line versus if you're an older child versus the youngest child, or a family of multitude, or twins, or all those different dynamics. So I would just say what somebody or what a family can do so everybody can be seen, to be able to carry their reflection alone and as a group, is to kind of sit down and kind of focus on what they want their life mission to be.
That's so beautiful. So beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. And now let's see, Dr. Washington, can you hear us now? Are you able to talk? Not yet. We can bear with us, guys. I know we just have a few more minutes. Let me try to add him. Are you able to hear us, Dr. Washington?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. And Dr. Washington, we'd love for you to just weigh in. We've been talking in depth for quite a while, but we love your perspective as from the field of medicine. If you could just share with us briefly what your perspective is on what fathers need for the future. What does the future of maternal health require for dads?
Oh, first of all, the thing that they can offer the most is presence, and with what I would call really an epidemic in maternal health and a lot of maternal health issues, the absence of the father, I think, escalates things in terms of what can become quickly an adverse situation for the mother involved. We've talked about, I guess, in general, how it's important for the father to be a part of the prenatal experience. And even the research will show that makes a difference. And then, of course, as the child, in terms of the raising of the child, how it's important. But being there physically to bring more accountability of the clinicians involved and physicians involved, I think it's very important, and probably a thing that's probably not talked enough about.
Definitely. And, before you hopped on, we had both Sade and Alex share some incredible perspectives. Sade from her experience as a perinatal specialist and advocate amongst a host of things, and Alex from his perspective as a leader and a dad. And so we have had such a beautiful and truly powerful conversation. And now, as we just kind of come to a close, I would love to, the way that we usually, love to get the final remarks from everyone, we just ask if you could sum up in one word, just finish this sentence, the future of maternal health is. So we'll go around and do that one by one. And then after that, we'll give you all an opportunity to share more about anything you have coming up that you would like to invite the community to be a part of. Okay, so we'll start with, let's start with you, Alex. The future of maternal health is.
I was really hoping you can go with someone else first. Can I popcorn it?
Popcorn it.
Miss Sade?
Well, I would say I'm going to use the same one I used previously. I think that the future of maternal health is transformative. And I think that on so many different aspects, just whatever transformation means. And the example that I used previously was talking about just about the butterfly, how we're just like in this cocoon and we're wrapped up and we're learning until we can reach our fullest form and evolve. And so that's personally what I think maternal health is. It's just that transforming experience and kind of be your best 2.0 of yourself, or the best version, or the higher self, as people would say.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Dr. Washington, what about you? The future of maternal health is what? Uh-oh, I think we're frozen now. Alex, you want to go?
So I will go with dependent. And it's dependent on whether people do stuff. It feels good to talk about it and complain about it and preach about it and read about it and all those things. But if you don't do something different, nothing will change. And that's why we have these two amazing leaders up here on this episode, this platform with us. And one of my colleagues is she's listening in, and we were just having the same conversation. Like, if you don't do anything, nothing changes. So I'm hoping that everyone listening will do something different. As these three leaders now here, there's four of us are sharing this. It's not about just emotions, not about just what you think about, it's what are you going to do differently now with these tools and skills that have been shared with you.
Definitely. Dr. Washington, if you can hear us, please, we'd love for you to weigh in. The future of maternal health is.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, great. How would you define the future of maternal health?
Oh gosh, the future has. I'm a mixture of optimistic and pessimistic, and I guess the perspective I talk about is just thinking about how women are being treated now with regard to maternal health in terms of the additional pressures being put on physicians and nurses and the laws and everything. And it's actually creating now a mess in terms of, oh, I'm scared to try this procedure, or I'm scared to do this because it might be defined, especially here down south, as an abortion, or it might be even though it's just a DNC procedure or some kind of checking that I need to do in terms, and yeah, it's just creating a mess. So in terms of the relationships with the family and the father, I don't think in terms of policy we have caught up with better ways that they can track all aspects of the pregnancy and make sure that everything's safe. Because ultimately it's about the safety of both the mother and the baby. And now we have all these kind of interference things that are just introducing new information that we really haven't come up with an organized way to cope with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing those research points up. We know that there's definitely a lot of work to be done, right? But
Yes.
I'm confident that, especially within this room, even just within this room, there are some incredible people making incredible waves. So thank you so much. Again, thank you so much all for just being here. Thank you all for listening. We've had a phenomenal time. And I do want to allow each of you to just share. I know you're all located in different parts of the country. So I want you to be able to share where you are, what opportunities you have for people to connect with you, anything exciting coming up. And we'll start with Miss Sharday Hereford.
First, I want to say thank you for allowing me to be on this panel. I'm always going to be humble for any opportunity where I can be able to uplift people, be able to share my experience, and just kind of move forward with maternal health the way it can benefit the whole family. So thank you for always just keeping me in the conversation and bringing me up. I really appreciate that humbly. First, I want to say that I'm having my second annual Buckets for Babies basketball community tournament. So essentially how it goes, y'all, okay, is that it's for all age groups. But in between halftime, I'm facilitating information on maternal, paternal, and child adolescent health, but also bringing the family dynamic because men love sports, women want the information. And then people always asking, I don't have no childcare. Can I bring my baby? Yes, you can. So everybody be able to come to this event. It's going to be giving away diapers, wipes, pack and plays, and car seats. And it's just going to be a good time. As y'all can see, I'm full of love. I love sharing. I love giving. I love being in the space. It's truly my purpose. So I would love if you guys came out. It's going to be July 11th at Adams Bustle here in Detroit, Michigan. And then the second thing is we are going to Zimbabwe this in April 2027. So I do have interest forms. If people are interested in going with us, we'll be having interviews. And that's pretty much. Thank you for listening, giving us the opportunity to hear our voices. And I hope that you be uplifted wherever you are in the world and know that you are supported and that there is support for you. You do not have to be alone, no matter who you are, what space you're in, how old you are, any demographic you supported, and you are loved. Just again, thank you so much for this opportunity. You guys have been amazing today.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Sharday. And tell everybody what your website and your socials so they can find you.
Yes, I need to be better at this. But yes, I am the Baby Bond Birth and Beyond. You can find me on all platforms, the Baby Bond. And I love bonding with people. It's not destroy, it's transfer. And I just think you can bond with anybody. So I love bonding with people. So I'm a bonder, as you can see. But yeah, you can find me on all platforms, the Baby Bond. So Instagram, Facebook. I'm get on TikTok, y'all, and then X. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sharday. And Dr. Washington, anything exciting coming up? I know you are in Atlanta. Tell everybody.
Well, first of all, let me say it's really a privilege to be a part of this. And I think it's an important discussion in that I even though it's something that's near and dear to my heart, it's really an area of maternal health that I don't get to talk about. I would say in terms of things happening this summer, there's a couple of studies that I hope we can get grants for, where we do more with, we're really trying to correlate the impact of social determinants of health on different aspects of things. And it will, for one, it's neural conditions. Another, it's cardiometabolic disease. But it just goes to show that more and more research is giving evidence to that, what happens to us externally can affect us physiologically. And that's something we really want to quantify in terms of, again, how policy and what's happening politically, not just socially, but they impact how care is given. Whereas our clinical guidelines might say one thing, how we conduct research, our purposes might be one thing, but then policy interferes with that. So hope to bring more light to those kind of things. And then lastly, a lot of our research has been dealing with AI. I really want to focus on developing scientists who are AI problem solvers and who are ethical and who are thinking about some of the real world issues that people have. It's not just about, oh, you know.
Oh, I think we lost him for a second. Hopefully he comes back.
But it's really a human-driven enterprise, and that's something we can't lose sight of.
Yes, that's so powerful. Thank you so much, Dr. Washington. And tell everybody where they can connect with you. Can you hear me? I know you're on LinkedIn, right? Would you say that's the best place for people to connect with you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear. Can you hear us? Yeah. Okay, so yes, if you would like to connect with Dr. Washington, everybody, you can find him on LinkedIn, Dr. James Washington. Thank you so much. And Alex, we will pass it to you now.
Again, thank you so much for having me here. This has been an amazing conversation. Again, my wife was very concerned with me coming on to talk about this, but I don't think I got us in too much trouble.
No.
So, I'm out here in the Washington, D.C. area, but I work across the country, across the world. So if anyone of you are interested in understanding a little more about what we do in regards to supporting leadership teams and CEOs and whatnot, you can just go to gpsleadership.org/executive diagnostic. More importantly, I would just say, you can always just go to gpsleadership.org as well and find information about us. More importantly, I would say, I want to just back having good people around you is going to be really, really important. We talked about the in depth, mother, father, healthcare providers, servers, but man, friends, auntie, uncles, and so on and so forth. The people that not you are connected to by blood because you just happen to be by blood, but those people who you choose to be around. Those are some very powerful people that can have around you in those times. And so I would encourage everyone to be intentional about building connections and relationships. I have a book called Relationships That Work on Amazon, Relationships That Work. So you'll just check that out. And the last thing I'll say actually is this picture behind me. You all have me thinking, I never thought about this before until this conversation. Made this at a sip and wine, a wine and sip and wine, one and two. Either way, it was drinking involved. And this is it's a forest with the water kind of going through it, and you see the sun and the colors. And the cool thing about this painting is that it wasn't made by me. It wasn't made by my wife. It was made by both of us. Both of us together created this one painting. And that's kind of how I see a child, a family, is that, yeah, technically speaking, people do paintings on their own. You can do these things on your own, but you can also do it together and make something beautiful. Does it make it easier? Probably in some ways, yes, and probably in some ways, no, but you can make something beautiful. And so that's just kind of what I was thinking about as you all were talking today. So thank you for having me here.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that is a perfect way to conclude this phenomenal conversation. The point is, it takes a village, right? It takes all of us. The future of maternal health requires all of us, right? To make sure that moms and babies and families, that we're all thriving. So I am incredibly grateful, beyond grateful, for each and every one of you in this room right now, each panelist. I'm grateful for all of you all watching. So thankful for this community. Again, this event is hosted by the Heart Next Door. It's a part of our Future Maternal Health Roundtable series. And we are just so excited and just so grateful. Again, if you would like to connect with us, the Heart Next Door, again, our mission is to put care and community at the fingertips of new and expecting moms. We do that via our podcast and also via our app, as well as community events. And you can also, if you are a maternal health leader, if you are an advocate, someone who really loves moms, we love to welcome you into our maternal changemaker community as well. So you can always reach out, visit our website, heartnextdoor.com. You can find me across all social platforms. My name is Tierney, but at Heart Next Door across all socials, you should be able to find us. And again, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just ending the night with so much love and gratitude for all of you. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.